Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. My name is Barbara and I'm so happy that you're here today because today I want to talk to you about the books I read in February. So, February was a shorter month than most, 29 days, but it turned out to be a very good reading month. At least regarding how many books I read, because I read 8 books. So if we look at the statistics, actually, I think now it kind of, since I read 8 books, it grants some statistics for us. So let's have a look. So in February, I got through 3,244 pages. Now, this isn't all just physical reading, this includes also audiobooks. Nevertheless, that is a lot of pages. When it comes to star rating and how I rated these books, we've got 2 books that were 4.5 stars, which is amazing, very close to 5 but not quite 5. We've got 3 books that were 4 stars, 1 book that was 3.5 stars, and 2 books that were 2.5 stars, so not that great. But average rating for the month was 3.69, which is better than the average for me, so that was a great reading month also regarding the ratings. When it comes to how I read these books, I read only 1 physically, 2 I read on ebook, 4 I read on audiobook, and 1 was mixed media, so both physical and audiobook. When it comes down to where I got the books, so we've got 3 books that I owned, so that's great, reading some of the books that I own. Then we've got 3 books I got on Script, or Everend these days. And then 1 book I had on audiobooks, the app audiobooks, and 1 book was gifted to me. So basically 4 books that I owned. But I differentiate between books that I bought and books that were gifted to me. The audience of these books, so we've got 4 books that were middle grade. That's why I was able to read so many, because 4 were middle grade, so they're really quick reads. 2 books were young adult and 2 books were adult. So that's quite interesting spread out. Then this month, untypically for me, the books were written mostly by men. So we've got 5 books written by men and 3 books by women. So that's quite unusual for me, but that's how it turned out this month. And then genre breakdown, I had 5 fantasies. We know what dominated the month. And then 1 of each: mystery, contemporary, and dystopia. So that is the breakdown of the statistics. So now we can go talk about the books themselves. First, I'm going to talk about 2 middle grade books. I'm gonna put them together because they're from the same series, and that is Amari and the Night Brothers and Amari and the Great Game by B.B. Alston. These are middle grade magical realism / fantasy books. I read Amari and the Night Brothers before, but before I read the Amari and the Great Game, I wanted to reread the first one, so I have everything freshly in mind. So I reread it. It is very quick read and so much fun, and I just reminded myself why I loved Amari so much. And yeah, here we follow Amari, who is our main character. She's, I think, 11, 12, 13 years old, something like that, whose brother went missing. The police kind of gave up on the search and she just doesn't know what happened to the brother. So she just lives with her mom, and one day she gets a message from basically her brother, or from this place where she can go for like a summer camp, but it is actually a supernatural investigations department building, kind of. So this is where the kids go to study during the summers, and they become agents and they do all kinds of things. It's this entire kind of school vibe, but it's only like summer school, and people have different abilities, and now Amari turns out to have 1 ability that is not allowed, but I will not say more than that because spoilers. And so it is so much fun to follow this story and what happened to the brother and her discovering this world that she had absolutely no idea about. And it's just so much fun. I absolutely love Amari. It feels so vivid and so real, and I love the characters, and yeah, it's a great book. I definitely recommend if you're looking for a middle grade fantasy book. Amari and the Great Game was also fun. I didn't love it as much as the first one, but it was still great. So the first one got 4.5 stars again, and the second one I gave 4 stars. So that's a great start, and I'm really excited to read the third and last Amari book that comes out in August. Next up, I read The Secret Animal Society by Luke Gamble. This is a beautiful, beautiful book. This is another middle grade magical realism book where we follow a girl named Edith, and she is in a boarding school in the UK. Her parents don't come to pick her up before summer, so she's sent off to this uncle that she didn't even know she had. The uncle lives in the middle of nowhere. I don't know how much I should tell you, but yeah, Secret Animal Society, so there are some secret animals that society just doesn't know about or doesn't believe they are real, and now Edith learns that they are real, and the uncle is actually a veterinarian that helps these animals. And she spends the summer with the uncle on the farm helping with the animals, and it's just such a great book, so much adventure. I loved how it portrayed a love for animals and caring for animals and all the beings and protecting them, and this was absolutely perfect, right up my alley. I did not vibe with it as much as with Amari. That was probably also a fault that I read this right after Amari, so this one did not rate as high. I gave this one 3.5 stars because again it wasn't as great, but I still really enjoyed it. Next book I read was Potions, Poisons and Peril by Shea McLeod, and this is a shorter book. It is about 200 pages that I have on Kindle. I got it on Stuff Your Kindle Day, and yeah, I talk about this book more in detail, or like more in the vlog that I posted. Was it Polarthon vlog? Yeah, Polarthon vlog, so I will link that down below if you'd like to check it out. But this is a book about witches, and we follow our main character, forgot her name, who owns a herb shop, and one day a man stumbles into her store asking for help, but it's too late and he dies in the store. And so she's trying to find out what happened to him, why did he die, and one thing leads to another, things unravel, there is some romance, there is some like kind of sisterhood because they have this coven of witches, and there is different type of witchcraft, and it's just so much fun. I really enjoyed this one, and there are I think 3 more books in the series, so I would be definitely open to read more. I don't own them though, so that's probably not the priority, but I really had a good time with this one. I was really positively surprised, and I gave this one 4 stars. Okay, the next one that I read, also for the Polarthon, so it is in the Polarthon blog that I linked down below, is The Polar Bear Explorers Club, written by Alex Hall. And now this one, again, was it a mistake that I read it right after Amari and after this? Possibly. Could be. But this is another middle grade fantasy where we follow a girl who is 11 years old or 10. I think she just turns 11. And her dad, adoptive dad, so she doesn't even call him dad, but he kind of adopted her. He is an explorer, and he is member of the Polar Bear Explorers Club, and she keeps begging him to take her on his trips, on his exploration trips. And he says, no, it's no place for a child, it's no place for a girl, I can't take you on exploration with me. But she insists, and he ended up taking her to a trip, and we follow her journeys. This one did not land with me at all. I did not like the characters. I think they were very obnoxious and unlikable. Even the main character who you're supposed to root for, I did not like her. I thought she was very self-absorbed. Of course she is 11, but I read plenty other books about 11-year-olds and they were not like that. So I did not like it. I did not vibe. I did not like the message the book sent in a way that this book did it right, at least where I put my priorities, or where I put my moral code. My moral code is, if you explore, you cannot kill animals, right? You have to respect whatever you're exploring. Not in the Polar Bear Explorers Club. There the priorities are a little bit different, and they are not really questioned, and they are not addressed whatsoever, and it rubbed me the wrong way. Now, this is not to say that it gives the wrong message to the children or whatever who they are reading like that. I think it's all up to your personal opinion. It didn't work for me because I do not like that kind of attitude towards exploration and nature, but it is what it is. And I gave that one 2.5 stars. And yeah, will not be rating on Goodreads, of course, but for me, for my personal records, did not like it. Moving on. Next book, again, this one is also part of the Polarthon blog, and it is Beartown. I have here the original copy, Bjornstad, by Fredrik Backman, and this is the first book in the Beartown series. There is 3 books in it, and here we follow multiple characters. There is so many of them, I couldn't keep track of them for the life of me. That didn't matter what I did, like I couldn't keep track of them, and still halfway through I was still lost, like who is this? And it wasn't even like I was mixing them up, it was just, I just forgot who they were. That was one thing that I did not like about this book, but on the other hand, the writing was fantastic. I absolutely loved the story, I loved what it was trying to say, I loved the social commentary and criticism, and it was amazing. It is set in Beartown, which is a hockey town. There is this team of juniors who are competing or like having a really big game to go in the higher league. So it's a big deal, and people feel like if this goes well, it will bring lots of sponsors and lots of, you know, new life to the town. So they are really focusing on this game and praising the players, because one of these players is supposed to be like really NHL material, you know, like the top league in the world material. So they're really praising them, but then some things happen, and I'm not going to say what. Maybe you know. If you don't know, I'm not gonna say. But it is very heavy. It is, everything is focused around it. It is very dug into deeply. It is dissected. It is not just something that's brushed under the carpet. That it is the entire plot of the book. And I did struggle with it regarding my anxiety, not regarding the story. The story was amazing. I loved the way it was done. I loved how the writing brought the tension and suspense without actually saying the things outright. And it was just really, really great. And I absolutely loved it. This one got 4.5 stars. It was really, really good. So that's that. The next book I read was Mindwalker by Kate Dillon. It is basically YA dystopian sci-fi kind of thing, and it takes place in the future, maybe like 100-200 years from now, in a world where basically it's unlivable anymore, and the planet is just too toxic for humans to survive. If you stay out too long, it would kind of like fry your body cells or give you cancer or whatever. So they kind of developed this kind of technology and mini bots and whatever to help people fight this radioactivity off. And we follow our main character, who is working for this company as a Mindwalker, which means that she had this kind of processor inserted into her brain, and she can help out the company's agents on their missions if they find themselves in a situation out of which they can't find an exit. So she kind of connects to their mind and walks them through it, how to get out. However, this has a catch, and these kind of mindwalkers live only up until 20 years old, or 18, 20, and after that the processor in their brain starts to disintegrate and attacking their brain completely, and they die. And yeah, we follow this story, and I thought it was such a great story. It had an amazing start, I was really hooked, but then it went down a route that I did not like, and I felt like if it was a series, this route would be the second book plotline, not the first book. So for me, it kind of felt like I just wanted to stay in the first couple chapters for longer than actually continue with what was happening later. But then it kind of does some reflection on society and technology, and like kind of cohabitation between humanity and technology, and kind of criticizes it but also praises it. And I really liked this kind of thought process, but I did not like the way the main character thought, and I felt like some things were quite obvious from the start that the main character did not get, even though she was supposed to be super, super smart. And she just did not suspect anything at all. It just was not exactly up my alley. I had a good time with it, but it was not a good book in my opinion. There would be a lot of character work to be done, and kind of just make it smooth and whole. But I mean, it was fun, but not my style. I think I gave this, yeah, 2.5 stars. So unfortunately, this one did not work for me. And the last book I read in February was Inheritance by Christopher Paolini, which is the fourth and last book in the original Inheritance Cycle series. Now we have the fifth book, but it's kind of like a separate from the first four. So this is where the story of Aragon wraps up. It's a long one, and there are kind of like pacing issues again. So sometimes we have really boring, I don't know, chapters, and then there is like lots of things happening in very short time that felt like we should have had more time exploring this. That was still the issue. However, I did enjoy this one so much. I really liked the way it all went and how it developed and how it all wrapped up. There were some questions that were unanswered. So some things that I wondered from the very first book were unanswered, and some things we never found out what they meant or who these people are or these kind of things. So I really miss that. I really wish that would have been explored more or like explained in some way, but it wasn't. So it was a little frustrating. But otherwise, it was a great book, and out of those four in that series, it was my second favorite. The first one was Aragon, loved that one, and then Inheritance came second. So it was a fun book. I really enjoyed it. And definitely gonna continue with Murtagh, which is the fifth and so far the last one, but maybe there'll come more. Who knows at this point? So that one I actually gave 4 stars. So that is all the books I read in February. It was a great reading month. I read a lot. I read lots of fun books, and especially books I did not expect to love, and books I expected to love, I did not. So it was kind of like an emotional roller coaster, but it was a great reading month, and I'm really happy for all the books I got to read. But let me know in the comments down below if you read any of these books and what you thought. If you disagree with me on some of the books, I know some of you do disagree with me on especially one of these books. So yeah, just let me know down below. Let's just discuss. And if you watched this far in and you didn't really read any of these books or don't know what to say, maybe just leave me some dragon emojis just to let me know that you watched this far. It really means a lot to me that you engage with my videos. So I hope you enjoyed this video. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye!